It's back for winter 2023-24. It's the Demand Flexibility Service, or DFS as it's commonly known, managed by the UK's national grid. This year, if you have a home battery, then you can get paid for what you export during the DFS sessions. If you've got a GivEnergy battery, then I've put together an automation that you can use to help schedule those exports using Home Assistant. If you don't have a GivEnergy battery, this video probably isn't for you. Carry on watching it if you like, because I'm going to start with an overview of Demand Flexibility Service, or DFS as I'm going to refer to it. Right then, it goes by many names depending on which energy supplier you're with. If you're on Octopus Energy, then they're calling it Saving Sessions. British Gas are calling it Peak Save. I'm not going to go through all of the different names, but hopefully your supplier will have told you about them. You need to sign up for each session in advance, so make sure you do that first. You'll be paid for every kilowatt hour that you don't use during that session, when compared to your normal usage during that time period. Unlike last year, there is no in-day adjustment, so you can't just hammer the grid beforehand in order to artificially inflate your usage. So if you don't have a battery, just use less during that hour. That's pretty much your only option. But this year, if you have batteries, then you can get paid for your export. Crucially, this will only be for additional export. If you're on a tariff like Octopus Flux, where you export during peak hours normally, then you'll need to be careful because you might not actually get paid for what you export. Now you've got a choice to make. You can go totally manual, use the GivEnergy app to force an export when the session starts, and resume normal eco or dynamic mode afterwards. But that's not why you're watching this video, is it? If you are feeling very adventurous, then on the GivTCP Facebook page is a semi-anonymous member going by the name of Willie Wreckit. If you want a comprehensive solution that will try and make sure your batteries are charged up before the event and then forces an export at the right time, then go and join that Facebook group and look for his posts. I'll put a link in the description, and look out for his scripts for a single inverter or multiple inverters if you have more than one that you need to automate. Alternatively, you can use my automation. Mine is considerably simpler in terms of setting it up and the functionality it offers. Mine is a blueprint which makes it very easy to install, but all it really does is force export your batteries at the specified time and stops them again afterwards. It deals with all the various settings that you need to look at when the session ends, such as putting the inverters back into eco mode and enabling discharge again. Some inverters behave slightly different to others in that respect, so it tries to cater for all scenarios. You can also specify the power output that you want to export at, so if you have a DNO limit, then it's important to set that. It'll also deal with multiple inverters quite nicely too. Now let's start with the basics. You need Home Assistant up and running, and you need the GivTCP add-on installed and configured. Go and check out my latest GivTCP video if you need help on that, and I'll put a link to that in the description for you. With that out of the way, let's dive into the configuration in Home Assistant, and I'll show you just how easy this is to set up. Okay, so the first thing to do is to create a couple of helpers, and we go down to Settings, Devices and Services, up to Helpers in the top right, and create helper. We choose the type of date and or time. Now the first one is called DFS start time, and it's going to be a time only helper, and click on create. We're going to do another one exactly the same, date and or time, and it's going to be called DFS end time, and again it's just a time helper, so create that. Now we need to import the blueprint itself, and that is done down in Settings, Automations and Scenes, and we go to Blueprints in the top right, Import Blueprint, and you paste in the URL from GitHub of the blueprint itself, so that will be put in the description for you. Click on Preview, you can have a good look through it if you want, and then just click on Import Blueprint. Now we have to create an automation from that blueprint before we can use it. So we go to Automations, Create Automation, and in this list you can see GivEnergy and DFS Exporter 2023-2024. That's the one we choose, and we get this nice GUI interface here. Now we have to fill in our DFS start time entity here, and DFS end time. These are the helpers that we've just created, and now you need to give the blueprint the state of charge entity of your inverter, so as it knows which inverter you're controlling. So just underscore sock, and I'm going to give it this one here. Now I've done a bit of maths and I've got some notes to the side here. For this one here, I need to set my discharge power to 3800 watts. I'm not going to set a delay offset, but I'm going to click on save. And this one is called GivEnergy DFS AIO, or all-in-one, because this is for my all-in-one inverter. Now, if you've got multiple inverters, you need to do this for each inverter. So I've got 2 inverters. So I'm going to create another automation, same blueprint there, GivEnergy and DFS exporter. I'm going to set the same start time entity and the same end time entity, and when I choose the sock entity this time, it is this one here, the GivTCP 2 one, and my maths says I need to set that to 2000 watts, and I'm going to set a delay offset of 35 seconds. Now all the delay offset does is when this automation runs, it'll just pause for this many seconds before it starts pausing or scheduling the export, that sort of thing. All the actions, they get paused for 35 seconds. It's just to stop the 2 inverters competing with each other, or suddenly exporting at full pelt when you didn't want them to. So if I click on save, we go GivEnergy DFS, and this is my AC3. So save, and there we go, that's all saved. And if I have a quick look on here, you can see AC3 all in one, but they're both disabled. Okay, the next thing to do is to create a dashboard card with all of those controls on it. So I've got a DFS dashboard set up here. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to add a card of type entities, and I'm going to call this saving sessions. Oh no, that's Octopus branding. I'm going to call this DFS, and the entities I'm going to add are the automations dot GivEnergy DFS all in one, automation dot GivEnergy DFS AC3, and then I'm going to add the DFS start time and the DFS end time, and save that. So now I've got a nice useful dashboard card here, and I can make sure that the automations are all disabled on the days that we're not using them. One quirk of GivTCP, certainly for me, is that when you set the discharge power to a specific value, it ends up setting itself to a lower value. So when I set it to 2000 watts, it'll probably end up at about 1900 watts. It's just something to be aware of when you are configuring the automations. And that's it. When you get a session announced, update the time entities on your dashboard card with the start and finish times, then enable the automations so as they run. Don't forget to disable them again afterwards, or they'll run the following day. If you are with Octopus Energy, then you can make use of another blueprint, which will automatically detect any sessions that you have signed up to. It'll set the start and end times for you, and then enable the automations. Crucially, it'll also disable those automations for you at the end of the session. In theory, this automation will even automatically opt in for announced saving sessions. Now, I say in theory because at the time of putting this video together, we've not actually been able to test any of this because there's only been one session. So if you decide to give this one a go, keep a close eye on your dashboard card that we created earlier. Make sure that the start and end times get set, and if they don't, then manually set them yourself and enable the automations. Crucially, go into your Octopus account and double check that you've opted into each one. If any bugs are discovered, then I'll update the blueprint as we discover them. Just delete your automation and blueprint, re-download and reconfigure it to get the updates. Now, this automation was originally created by Willie Wreckit, the same Willie Wreckit from the GivTCP Facebook group, and I've adapted it to the blueprint format to make it a bit easier to use. It'll work with both my export blueprint and his more advanced automations. Before you start, you'll need to make sure you have already installed and configured the Octopus Energy integration by BottleCap Dave using hacks. I'm not going to go over how to do that in this video. I'll assume you've already done that, and I'll stick a link to the integration in the description so as you know it's the right one. So this automation is even easier than the last one. We go down to automations and scenes, blueprints, and we import the blueprint. Obviously I will put this link in the description for you. Click on preview, import the blueprint, and then we go back over to automations and create an automation. Now this one is called Octopus Saving Session Detection, and in here all we need to do is put our Octopus Energy entities that define or detect when the saving sessions happen. So this is from the Octopus Energy integration, so I'm going to type in Octopus saving session. There we go, that one there. We need our events entity, which is saving session events detected there. Our start time, which is the DFS start time entity we created earlier, DFS end time, and now we get to choose which automations this is controlling. Now we've got the obvious ones, the DFS all-in-one for me there, and now I can choose the all-in-one DFS AC3, and I've also got another DFS one which just pauses and resumes my eddy hot water heater, because otherwise when I start exporting loads of power, suddenly the eddy kicks in and starts trying to soak it up and heat the hot water with it. That's not what I want. So click on save, and this is called Octopus Saving Session Detection, and save. That's it. Keep your eyes on the GitHub file because I might tweak the blueprint throughout the winter if I find any bugs or ways to improve it. I'll update the description line in the file with the date that I make any changes so as you can easily see. And I'll put links to both blueprints in the description for you. Anyway, if you found this useful, then don't forget to give the video a like and subscribe to my channel to see more from me. Good luck with your exporting sessions, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.